So every time I see someone on television or in politics or even just some random parent on Facebook saying that video games have ruined society, I get totally frustrated by it. It actually infuriates me because here's the truth. The science doesn't back that up. In fact, the more studies that come out, the more that we're seeing the opposite. Gaming actually improves your overall happiness, your brain function, and even your sense of purpose in life. Yeah, I said it. Gaming makes us better. And I know that sounds like pie in the sky stuff here, but I'm going to go through the data in a new study that just came out. This week, another big study just landed. Scientists looked at what happens when people play The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild specifically, a game that most of us already know sparks an enormous amount of joy. It did with all of my children who beat it. I beat it. And guess what? It didn't just make players feel good, according to the study. They felt like they were in the moment. It actually improved life satisfaction. It gave them a stronger sense of purpose and even helped them feel calmer in life and more skillful outside of the game. Like when they stopped playing it, it carried over into their normal workday, their normal relationship day, social day. So the researchers focused on postgraduate students specifically, okay? People notorious for stress, burned out, living on instant noodles, having no money, and they found that diving into Breath of the Wild gave them more escapism. It actually helped them feel adventurous in real life, more capable in their daily tasks, and just overall happier. But here's the fun twist about it. The study didn't just stop at gaming. They then paired Zelda sessions with like short clips from Studio Ghibli movies, like My Neighbor Totoro and Kiki's Delivery Service. So it had like a mix of gaming plus nostalgia, some sort of nostalgic movies, and it boosted happiness even more. Basically, Link plus Totoro equals a recipe for life satisfaction. I guess I need to watch more anime. I really have never watched anime, just a little bit of it. So I know I feel ashamed that I'm not even pronouncing a lot of these character names correctly, but it is what it is. At least I got Studio Ghibli right. Watch, I'm saying that wrong too. Just let me know in the comments. I know. But I grew up, loving cartoons, but I just didn't really watch much anime at all. So I feel sort of left out on that piece of it. But again, Link plus some anime, pure happiness. And so here's where I get annoyed, because even as new research keeps piling up, showing benefits like this, you'll still hear people villainizing games. They'll say it causes violence, addiction, antisocial behavior. And every time I hear that, I just want to ask, have you actually looked at the data? Or are you just spouting some BS that you haven't even studied? You don't even know what you're talking about. Because the data has been telling a completely different story for decades now. In fact, one researcher whose book I read about teenage boys, because I was about to have a teenage boy, he was 12, turning 13. My wife and I both read it. We wanted to be prepared for it. Even though, yes, I was a teenage boy back in the 80s, or I guess 90s technically. A lot has changed, right? So I wanted to understand that. The author in that book explained how she really didn't like that her son was like playing Fortnite or other games to wind down at the end of a long day. She's like, man, he's on there for like 2 hours, an hour here, 2 hours there. I know, like how many, too much of anything is bad. So sitting there for 8 hours a day, of course, that's terrible. So anyway, this doctor, she went to the mat. She was trying to find proof that this was bad for her son. She's like, I'm a doctor. I deal with children. This has got to be terrible for my son, right? So she really wanted to find the data. And she's a doctor. Well, guess what? She not only couldn't find anything wrong with it, she found the opposite. It was actually great for her son. Great for memory development, lowering anxiety, and fantastic for mental cognition, reducing depression, hand-eye coordination. I mean, the list was like endless. Even Ann Coulter, of all people, came out last week saying maybe we've been overreacting to kids and technology all along. She pointed out how every generation has panicked about the next big thing. First, it was radio. Radio is going to rot your brain. Sitting in front of the radio, listening to radio stories. Then it was TV was going to rot your brain. Then it was comic books. Then video games. Then rock music. Now phones. So we've been wrong about every one of them, every single time. And she highlighted, by the way, for video games, a massive MIT study on violent video games and found that no evidence, none existed, that games have ever led to violence or harmed kids. MIT. In fact, the data actually shows the opposite. gaming often has positive effects. And so when Ann Coulter is backing up the gamers with actual science, you know the narrative is shifting. You know that hell has frozen over. Let's rewind just a little bit though. Back in the late 1990s, researchers like Daphne Bavelier and C. Shawn Green at the University of Rochester started digging into how games affect the brain. And their work was actually groundbreaking. They looked at action games, stuff like the original Doom or Team Fortress classics, and realized these games weren't just twitchy shooters, they were training grounds for the brain. Really, really good for the brain. Their studies showed action gamers developed sharper visual focus, improved sensitivity to contrast, even better multitasking skills. In other words, if you're used to tracking enemies on a chaotic map, reading fine print on a legal document suddenly becomes a heck of a lot easier. Driving through fog, gamers crushed that test. Isn't that crazy? They had like driving through fog. Juggling a dinner conversation while reading a menu, gamers had a leg up there too. Across the board, gamers just crushed it. And in a Scientific American article from 2016, Bavelier and Green spelled it out. Individuals who regularly play action games demonstrate improved ability to focus on visual details, heightened sensitivity to visual contrast, better multitasking in real-life situations. That's not me talking. That's hard science. And it's not just about action games. Research has shown games help mitigate substance abuse, improve mental health, encourage pro-social behavior, even slow down the effects of cognitive decline. Think about that. Grandma picking up a controller might actually help her brain stay sharp. Honestly, I've seen this in my own life. Some of my sharpest problem-solving moments didn't come from a textbook. They came from getting stuck in a dungeon in Zelda or trying to solve some puzzle. I'm playing for the first time. I'm playing Hollow Knight right now, the first Hollow Knight. The Colosseum of Fools section, holy crap. These games train me to stay calm, adapt, push through it. Like going through the Colosseum of Fools, if you've played that section of the game, you know, oh my God, it takes learning and adapting. And you're going through all of these enemies as they just keep coming at you, and you're having to learn the patterns, study the patterns, react in real time, and push through it and then beat it. Maybe it takes you 15 times to do it. It teaches you a lot, doesn't it? And let's be real, that's a skill whether in real life that you need, whether you're facing a boss fight or a big like Monday work meeting that you need to deal with. But despite all of this evidence, we still get the same tired talking points from people that don't know what they're talking about. Violent video games cause violence. Multiplayer communities are toxic. Gamers are antisocial. Look, do bad communities exist? Of course. And there's some lazy people out there who play video games for 8 hours a day. Sure, but that's not unique to gaming. That's just human behavior. You're always going to have people like that. We don't ban books because a bad community forms around a certain author. We don't ban music because a few songs have violent lyrics. Yet for some reason, games get singled out over and over and over again. The reality is gaming is one of the most social hobbies in the world today. People are building friendships, marriages, entire communities around games. Games like Animal Crossing gave people enormous amount of comfort during the lockdown. Esports have given kids scholarships to college. And yes, games like Breath of the Wild are literally giving people a stronger sense of purpose in their lives, which is crazy to think about, but hey, that's what the study says. And here's another example that blows my mind. Researchers have used games to help with PTSD treatment. They carefully design virtual environments. Therapists can actually help patients process trauma in ways that traditional therapy sometimes struggles with. That's powerful. That's life-changing. And yet when people talk about games, they act like it's some kind of silly time waster. I love that. I love that people that criticize video games are also the people that'll watch like 5 straight hours of garbage content on Netflix. I mean, there's literally entire Netflix series now where they're like indoctrinating children. I mean, it's absurd. So I'd much rather have my child sitting down playing Luigi's Mansion and trying to solve puzzles and during the Halloween season and getting through all of that and trying to figure it out and having fun environmentally like that, and to be able to sit there on the couch with my kids and enjoy that, rather than sitting there watching like some stupid Netflix show with their mouth open like a dead salmon, just passively sucking it in. It's not a silly time waster. But now I don't want to oversell this new Zelda study. It's focused specifically on a small group, specifically post-grad students, and we don't yet know the long-term lasting effects and how long-term and lasting they are. But that's how science works, right? Piece by piece, study by study, you build a picture, and the picture that's emerging is pretty damn clear. Gaming isn't the villain. Gaming is one of the most effective tools we have for boosting happiness, building community, keeping our brains sharp and focused. So the next time somebody says, hey, Why are you wasting time on games? You can tell them, actually, I'm improving my focus. I'm boosting my mood. I'm sharpening my multitasking skills. And maybe I'm even staving off cognitive decline and dementia. I'm sitting here playing Tetris. Does that bother you? You want me to sit there and watch some Netflix with you for 4 hours? I'm going to be trying to get as many Tetris as I can tonight. So screw off. You know, what'd you do today? Just scroll Facebook, hang out on Instagram Reels for 2 hours while you're taking a dump on the toilet? So for me, this is why I love covering stories like this, because gaming deserves to be defended. It deserves to be celebrated. And as more research comes out, I think we will eventually reach a tipping point where people stop treating gaming like a scapegoat and start recognizing it as a powerful, positive force that it really is. So yeah, let me know, guys. And thank you guys so much for subscribing. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this dive into gaming science, hit that like button, drop a comment below. And by the way, tell me what game makes you the happiest to play. Like, what's a game that you kind of go back to on a regular basis? It's kind of your happy place. I have a friend who, he goes back to Baldur's Gate, or Fallout 4. Anytime there's kind of like a down period in gaming, he's like, I'm going back to Baldur's Gate. I'm going back to Fallout 4, even though he's got thousands of hours in those games. He doesn't care. Makes him happy. Anyway. This is where we push back against the tired anti-game narratives. So thank you guys. This is a safe space for telling gaming truths that gaming makes our lives better. So thank you guys so much for subscribing and being a part of the community. I really appreciate it. And what games are you guys playing right now? I'm going to go back and try to finish Hollow Knight, for crying out loud. We'll see you next time, everyone.